And that's why I love the Ghan so much. It's because it is that one where you do feel the most connected to the Australian landscape and the Australian people and the Indigenous in particular. So yeah, the Ghan's definitely the one that you want to do if that's what you're interested in.
Hey everybody, it's Dani Valent here with you and you're listening to Dirty Linen. I love bringing you food stories wherever I may find them. Often it's a restaurant, it's a cafe, a pub, a bar, even a cruise ship. But how about a train? We recently rode the Ghan, a magnificent train that rolls the rails between Adelaide and Darwin, taking more than 250 passengers from one end of Australia to the other. How on earth do they feed them? Well, I was actually fed and watered really well. But to get the full backstory, we've got Jess Hite, a chef with Journey Beyond, the company that runs the Ghan and lots of other great experiences. We've got Jess on the show for the lowdown. Welcome to Dirty Linen, Jess.
Hi, thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Good to have you on the show. I really need to know how it all happens, but let's find out a bit about you first. Like, how do you come to be rolling the rails, feeding people?
Yeah. Well, I've been a chef for 15 years and it got to the point where I was just like, I'm sick of the day-to-day. Everything's kind of normal. You work every weekend. You do all those things that you do in a normal restaurant. And I was like, I'm ready for a change. I'm ready for something new. And I just started looking around and at a lot of like FIFO work. So that was my first instinct, was to go for FIFO. But then when I saw that Journey Beyond was hiring and they were looking for chefs to work on the train, I was like, I've got to go for that. Like, it's 7 days on train, 7 days off train. It's nothing like what you could expect it to be as a chef. Like, it's just completely different.
Amazing. Well, so for anyone who doesn't know, FIFO, fly in, fly out. So often working on mines or remote areas. But I suppose you've got a similar rhythm, Jess, but the landscape is always changing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm very lucky I get to travel for work now and I get to be a part of that travel experience as well and see what everybody else gets to see.
What are some of the differences between that kind of work and the work that you've been doing earlier in your career as a chef?
Yeah, so earlier in my career as a chef, I did was working at pubs. So as you can imagine, like your normal pub fare, normal pub food. Did a few pizza places and I worked at a brewery for a little while. The difference is like you get to use the ingredients and things that match to the area that you're traveling through. So being able to serve up dishes that coordinate with the train that you're on. And so that's really cool, was learning about those different ingredients and those different things that we could be using. Whereas like in a pub or whatever, it's just your standard snitty and chips, you know?
Yeah, it's not so much linked to the landscape. It was probably an area of the hospitality experience on train that impressed me the most, was the fact that every menu was different and it was presented really nicely with illustrations that talk about some of the key ingredients of the region. Can you just explain it a bit more in more detail? Like, what kinds of ingredients or dishes do you link to particular landscapes?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, each menu will have a different ingredient on the back of it, and that will coincide with the area that you are traveling through. And then that ingredient will have a very heavy stance and very heavy show in that menu in particular. So for example, there's on the Ghan, we use a lot of mangoes. So because we are traveling through that tropical north region where the mangoes are grown, so you'll see like for the last couple of days, if you're going Adelaide to Darwin, we're using a lot of like native grown mangoes in each of our dishes. So I think there's one that's like one of the menus, it's there for an entree, a main and a dessert. And then there's other areas as well that we can use them in. So I think sometimes they make cocktails that coincide with where we're running and where we're going. Yeah.
I know, like, when I was on the train, there were a lot of Aussies who were there sort of having a bucket list experience, but there were also a lot of overseas travellers. And it was really interesting for them, especially, I think, to have some of the native ingredients that they may not have tasted before. I was sitting with an American woman who was like so blown away that she was having kangaroo. Like what's it like, sort of, I suppose, creating those lifetime memories for people?
Yeah, it's pretty special being able to be a part of that. And I do enjoy going out and actually talking to the guests quite a lot about what they want to eat on the trip. And actually a few weeks ago we had someone on, it was the Great Southern, not the Ghan, but his entire thing was he wanted to try kangaroo. And he just had to have kangaroo. Unfortunately, because we did have a disrupted trip, there was no kangaroo on his menu, but I did have some in a freezer. So I was like lucky enough to be able to serve that to him. And he just absolutely stoked. Like, it was his one bucket list thing that he had to eat in Australia. And so I was very lucky to be able to supply that for him.
That's amazing. I mean, because I imagine the logistics are so tight, but to be able to create that unique experience for a guest simply from connecting with them is very special. What are some of the ways that you have prepared kangaroo on train over your time there?
Yeah, so it's normally the same. It will just be a kangaroo fillet. So we grill it into that rare stage. Sometimes it's rolled in a saltbush dukkha, which is from a small company that we use quite a lot. They're called Creative Native, and they're an Aboriginal-owned company, and they make all of our spices for us and quite a lot of sauces as well. So that's very cool because they use all native and Australian ingredients and stuff like that. So, that's one of them, and that is served with beetroot and grilled cucumbers. So that's one of the dishes. And there's another one where we have kangaroo on, I think it's a little salad, but that's a different train. So
I love it. I mean,
there's so many menus.
Oh, I'm sure there are, because we had the 4 days going up to Darwin, and each menu was completely different. It was really this is what I want to know about. Like, how do you do that? Because tell us about the size of the kitchens and how you actually run the logistics.
Yeah. So the kitchens are quite small. If you're a 6 foot tall person, you could probably reach your arms out and touch either side. But then, like, they're a long galley. So the kitchen and dining room, the carriage size is the same as the sleeper carriages. So you just have to imagine that half of that is a dining room and then the other half is the kitchen. It's a very tight, very small area that we have to all kind of work on top of each other without falling on each other. So logistically, we spend the first 2 hours before you guys get on train loading up the kitchen. Each and every section of the kitchen is numbered, and we have to put everything in the same numbers every time. So if you're like, oh, I need the rice noodles, and you go, yep, they're in cupboard 33 where they always are. So like, we have to do all of those things the same every single trip just to keep it all in order. And
And is it, tell me more about it, like about the way that you cook, because that's very tight as well. It's not just about knowing where the ingredients are, then you've got to turn them into meals.
Yeah. So we normally, on the Ghan, you'll have 3 chefs in a kitchen, because you can do up to 100 guests in one section. So you're looking at three chefs. You'll have one that we call front chef, one that we call back chef, and one that will be the relief. So your front chef will do all of your main meals, and they generally spend their time in like a 1 meter square, and they can't really move from that square. And then you've got your middle chef, same thing, that 1 meter square, but their back is towards all of the fridges and things. So if you need something, you have to ask that person for it because you can't walk past them. And then you've got your relief chef or your CDP up the back that does like majority of the platinum sweet stuff and desserts.
And what's it like for you? You know, do you enjoy that sort of logistical challenge?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I mean, I've worked in a lot of small kitchens before, but none of them have been moving. So, so it's quite a different kind of challenge. But I think if you get along with your team really well, and all of us do get along really well, then you can deal with being in that confined environment quite easily. And you just have to know how to work as a team and be able to ask for help.
Tell me more about this moving train, because I was very struck by that it's not quite a consistent rocking, but there's a bit of side to side. And I was watching, you know, the fantastic front of house staff, you know, pouring wine or making coffee. And it's like, that is not easy.
No, it's not. So I think it's quite a funny sight to see if you were to walk past and look at us. We normally stand with our legs quite wide apart just so we can get that, just so we can get that stabilization, and you feel like you are holding onto your core the whole time, just so you're not dropping anything or falling over. I can't say I have actually completely fallen over before, but I've definitely fallen into someone.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, you guys don't need to do Pilates. You've got all your core work on train.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Pilates definitely helps me though.
Yeah. Jess, you mentioned your spice provider is Aboriginal owned, which I think is such a good thing to point out. There are, you know, native ingredients are, you know, so widely used and more used, which is fantastic. But it's mostly those businesses that supply the ingredients are mostly not Aboriginal owned. Is that something, you know, obviously the train is going through this magnificent country that's with deep connections to First Nations Australians. Like, how do you think about, you know, the ingredients that you use in relation to that?
I think the way that we use it is definitely paying like a really good homage to the area, and the fact that we do use these small businesses as well, like it's a very good thing, rather than using those larger businesses like where you know everything comes in massive bulk and it doesn't really have that kind of connection. It's very good as a chef to be using those things, and it makes you feel like you are connecting your food to the area as well.
Even though it's a big operation, you know, you're feeding 300 people on a train going through the desert or the tropics, wherever you happen to be, I do agree with you that there's this sense of intimacy and small scale. I think because the menus change so much, so you are using small-ish amounts of quite special ingredients. It's quite bespoke, actually, isn't it? Different to the schnitty and chips that you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic. What kind of, you know, you mentioned you go out and talk to guests. Like, what kind of people do you interact with? What kind of experiences do you think people are having?
So the people that I generally interact with are I would say it's mainly international people, the ones that are coming over and they're here for the genuine Australian experience. They're on the train because they want to see Australia, and they're just so interested in everything that can come from that land, and be that the fact that we've bought it from the land and then provided it to them on a train is just crazy to them. And it's very cool to sit down and have these conversations. And I have these organic conversations with them like I'm having with you now. And they ask, how do you go about doing it in such a tight space? And I'm like, guys, I don't think you understand how small it is. Let me take you. I will take you to see it. And so I bring them in, and just the sheer look of just excitement or craziness, they just look at me and they're like, how do you pull this off? How do you guys do this? And I'm like, skills.
Yes, and you must have fantastic systems, and definitely so much skill, and as I now understand, the right posture to stand there on a moving train and still flip an egg or grill some kangaroo, whatever it might be. Is there a particular dish that when you send it out, you know everyone's going to be amazed?
Yeah, so the one on the Ghan that really stands out the most is the buffalo curry. And I think everybody gets really amazed by that because they are eating something that they get that is there on the side of the train. Like they see it, we're driving past it, we go through big hordes of buffalo. And I think they're always quite surprised that it's such a tender meat and it's actually not that overpowering or that intense. So they really love that one. And that's the one that I get massive reviews on when I walk through the carriages, is everyone going, oh my God, I can't believe that buffalo curry. That's crazy. Like I never thought I'd eat buffalo. And I do like, when they ask where it's from, I do like to throw in the joke that we've picked it up off the side of the train. That always get the giggle out of them.
Well, I really resonate with everything you've said because I thought that was a standout dish as well. And I saw it on the menu and hadn't seen any buffalo at that point. But then the train goes along a little bit further and I saw like a snout sticking out of one of the dams, and then you keep going and there's a few wandering around. And, then the meal arrives and it does have that incredible connection with landscape. And I think, I suppose kangaroo is something that I could find in my local shops, but buffalo, absolutely not. That is a very rare experience.
Yeah, absolutely not. It's definitely one of those, and it's extremely popular. We know that we're going to send out at least 90% of the meals will be that buffalo curry on that day.
Yeah, well, that's actually something you touch on where it's the menus are different, but you do get a choice. So it's Can you talk a bit about the menu structure and perhaps how it works through the different classes of travel?
Yeah. So for the breakfast menus, there will be a starter, a choice of a starter or cereals. Then for the mains, you get a choice of 3. There's always a choice of 3. Same with lunch, you get the choice of 3 mains, choice of 2 desserts, and dinner is 3 entrees, 3 mains, 3 different desserts. So there's quite a lot going on there. But in the way of classes and the way it changes is platinum will get a appetizer for dinner, then they get their entree, then their main, then a cheese course, then a dessert. And very similar to the way that Gold Premium runs as well. They get appetizer, entree, main, and then dessert. So they don't get a cheese course as well. But, your meal, you can choose to order as many or as little as you want. Sometimes we do get people that order multiple because they want to try multiple things.
Yeah, well, I definitely chatted to some passengers who admitted that they'd ordered a repeat dessert because they were so impressed with the dessert.
Yeah. Yeah. So that happens quite a bit, or you'll get the guests that always choose their safe option. Again, going back to that buffalo curry day. So they'll order something on the menu that's not quite as adventurous for them, but then they'll ask for a small serve of the buffalo curry because they need to try it. And that's amazing to see, is people stepping out of their comfort zones to try the food that we're putting out for them.
Oh, I love that. And I love the fact that you can, respond to those requests, tailor things for individuals. Yeah, that's really lovely. What you work across different trains. Like, do you find that the different trips have a different tone or feeling or attract a different type of passenger?
Yeah, they definitely do. So that I work across 3. I have actually done 4 out of 5 trains. But the main ones being the Indian Pacific, the Great Southern, and the Ghan. So the Indian Pacific, when people ask me about it, I generally explain it to them as it's if you are somebody that wants to be able to sit and relax and just take in their surroundings, and if you like a lot of food. So you get fed a lot on that train, and a lot. So that's the one that you want to go on if you just want to be able to relax for 4 days and not have to worry about getting off or packing up your things or anything like that. The Great Southern is really good if you love history, because we go through a lot of these historic old towns, or we go to Canberra and you can do a war memorial tour. And it's a bit more of a lighter hearted trip for those people that don't want to be stuck inside for a long period of time. But there's also still a lot of food involved in that one too. But most of your lunches are provided off train. And then the Ghan, it's one of those ones that if you're adventurous and if you like to explore, that's the one that you want to do, because you just we travel through so many different areas and so many different types of areas. So each and every day you get off, you're experiencing something completely different. And I've been very lucky to be a part of majority of those off-train experiences on my time off. And so one of my favorites was Nipmuc Gorge. Did you go there when you did the train?
Yeah, we did. It was amazing. And just as our guide on the boat was saying, look, we're just not going to see any crocodiles today, then she turned around and she was like, there's one. Yeah. It was so amazing. It was incredible because we could see some rock art from the boat, which was so moving and special. And I'm sure, every time you go, there's going to be, different nature, like more crocs, fewer crocs, more water, less water. The vegetation must keep changing. I found it just really moving, to be in that incredible landscape. And to know that, I hadn't had to pack a suitcase to get there, or my suitcase was still unpacked on the train. It's just such a relaxing way to explore and travel. But what did you love about it?
I think I loved that the tour guide for us was a native of the area, and he had grown up there, so he knew a lot about the history and things. And he told us the Dreamtime story of the rainbow serpent from there and how the gorges became the gorges. And to me, that resonated a lot and just showed how beautiful the country that we live in is.
We went to Stanley Chasm and had an experience with the native owners of that area, and just explaining about how some of the plant life was is used in culture. And we had an incredible talk about skin names and clans and the way that relationships work. It was seriously mind-blowing, and especially for the overseas travellers who had perhaps only a superficial understanding or, glancing connection with First Nations in Australia, and people's jaws were just dropped. It was such an incredible connection with just a really deep grounding in where we were. It was really special.
Definitely. And that's why I love the Ghan so much. It's because it is that one where you do feel the most connected to the Australian landscape and the Australian people and the Indigenous in particular. So, the Ghan's definitely the one that you want to do if that's what you're interested in.
Yeah, hopefully I'll have an opportunity to do the others and compare and contrast, but the Ghan was just awesome. And so awesome that it's going to be extended next year for an extra day northbound. Do you know much about that, Jess?
I don't know too much about it, being that that's all operational sort of side of things. I do know that they will be adding another menu. That's all. So I know that it being extended the extra day means that you just get more time to eat some delicious food from me.
Yeah, fantastic. So tell me, Jess, as a chef, what have you learnt or gained from the experience of being a chef on the trains?
Yeah. So I've learnt a lot, in how to use different ingredients. I haven't had a lot of opportunities in my past to be able to create strange dishes like what you do see on the trains and use those ingredients to their best of their abilities, things like lemon myrtle and things like that. So that's another native herb that is just delicious, and I'd never thought to put it in a dessert, but we use it in a lot of desserts. So we make lemon myrtle cream and things because it's got this delicious little lemon hint but it's also quite sweet. I've learned how to use more traditional herbs and spices, and I've definitely been able to hone in on my skills of cooking meat. because we cook a lot of meat to order on the train as well. So things like steaks, lamb, kangaroo, they all have a different cooking process and a different internal temperature to be cooked to. And like being able to hone in on that has been really good for me.
Love it. And what do you love about what you do?
I think it's seeing everyone's faces once they've eaten. So I think like people would probably call me a feeder. Like, so if someone comes over, or I'm like, do you want something to eat? Do you want to try this? I've made this. And so it's just seeing everyone's face after they've eaten is the reason I love cooking so much. It's just making people happy through food.
Oh, well, yeah, you and the team certainly made me happy. What is it like to be part of a team? Like, what's the spirit among the group? Because you're working in very close quarters and, you know, like traveling together as well.
Yep. So generally we treat each other like we're family. So each crew, depending on the train that you're on, you will have 6 to 8 chefs. And then crew, you can have up to 40. So you treat that crew like they're your family. You have to live together for an entire week. So you live together, you eat together, you share the same showers and quarters, and everyone just becomes really close. It's like being with your brothers and sisters on a little sleepaway holiday like you were when you were a kid.
I love it. Jess, such a pleasure to chat to you. I really feel like I understand the experience from the chef side of it more. And it's given me a greater appreciation for the fantastic gourmet meals that I enjoyed on the Ghan. Thanks so much for sharing with us today.
That's all right. You're so welcome.
This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinen@deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta at Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.
This